What is up, you fantastic, wonderful people? It is your boy. I need a new chair that doesn't squeak every time I move. Back at it again. Today I want to talk about Skylanders. For some of you born in the early 2000s that didn't manage your social life throughout middle school, and you were trying to hit on girls by showing them your Clash Royale trophy level, that word probably brings back some really comforting memories of nights spent all alone. If you are a parent that had a child born in the early 2000s, that word probably brings back the screams and horrors coming from your wallet every time you walk by the Skylander aisle at Target. Whatever group you belong to, there's no denying that Skylanders and the suits over at Activision's had kids gripped by the balls as they siphoned all the money from unsuspecting parents. Metaphorically, at least. Not literally. Or maybe literally. Some weird shit happens at Activision. Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. This is the first time the world was introduced to the magical lands of Skylands, and I don't want to brag, but I was an OG. Yep, I was there from the beginning. Thank you. Calm down. Okay, thank you. I remember my friend showed me Skylanders at one of his birthday parties one year, and I was just so blown away that on the way home I had convinced my mom to stop off at Target and buy me the starter pack. Jesus Christ, that was the day my life changed. All for the better, for the most part. Now, if you don't know what Skylanders is, let me explain for a second. Skylanders are sort of a dumbed down RPG for kids. You got all these plastic toys, and you got this little portal thing that you plugged into your PS3 or whatever console you had at the time. You place the character on that portal, and bam, a little animation plays and you're playing as them in the game. Pretty simple children's game with a collectible aspect to it. It was called Toys to Life. All these toys had a little different like symbol and element they related to, like water, or fire, or tech, or undead? Sure, why not? You take these characters who are perfectly mind-numbing and serviceable story for children with one of the greatest antagonists of all time in Chaos and his assistant Glumshanks. You may have also spotted the Spyro connection. Now, while this game doesn't have any connection to the Spyro games, the executives over at Activision figured that the game needed a name character inside gaming to boost sales. So they thought, you know what, we'll take Spyro, we'll put him on the name so we can have a name character and get some attention around it. This is where the ludicrous business model starts to come into play. Because see, if you die in this game designed for children, like, I wouldn't, okay? I've beaten all the Dark Souls. I've never died in one of these games. I'm too good for that. But if you did, you would have to either swap to a different character in the middle of the level, or restart the level. So basically, having all of the characters and more of these characters means like having an infinite one-up glitch in Mario. Not to mention the more characters you have, the better the game gets, because you can switch up combat, you can switch up characters, elements, all of these different tactics, and then, oh, you can also brag to your friends that you got the really cool Wham Shell character. This sounds like a really cool idea until you take into the fact that there are 32 of these characters in this first game. That old number only goes up from here. And each of those characters costs roughly $8. So if you add the total cost of the game plus the total cost of the characters, that's roughly $325 to unlock everything this game has to offer. And this was back in 2011 before game developers were pushing for $100 games. It's pretty much the equivalent of having like physical microtransactions. The only difference is it was cool that I could grind the shit out of a character, make them so overpowered, so the next time I went to my friend's house, I could fucking just dominate and kill him over and over in the arena because he didn't take the time to fucking max out Gil Grunt, you bitch. I guarantee you the suits over at Activision and Toys for Bob were 100% popping bottles and smoking cocaine off a hooker's ass after this business model idea, because holy shit, it worked. In just over 5 months, they already announced that they had 30 million toys pushed in sale, and at the end of December of 2012, they announced that the Skylander franchise had pushed $500 million in total sales. That is fucking insane for a children's game. This obviously, like any good studio out there would, led them to push out a shit ton of shitty side spin-off games onto mobile and web games. And side note, I didn't know this until I started making this video, but you know the score in this game, the absolutely slapping score? Yeah, that was produced by Hans Zimmer. Yes, that Hans Zimmer of Inception, of Dune, of all these big-ass films fame, worked on the theme for Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. I just figured you should know that. I didn't know where to put it in the first section, but that just had to be known. damn near immediately after Spyro's Adventure. It didn't take them long to shove out a shitty Pop Tropica Club Penguin spin-off sort of thing with Skylanders called Skylanders Universe. I don't know if this just wasn't that popular. I mean, it wasn't that popular because it never even left beta, but I could find almost no information on this game. So I'm just gonna kind of mention it here because I feel like I should. And then I'm going to move on because I don't know what else to say. I couldn't find anything except for like a couple of images of the game. Next came Skylanders Cloud Patrol, which was like a shitty arcade shooter sort of thing that was on mobile games. Not much depth to it. You play as a portal master, clear the skies of all the scum to save the light from the darkness, or probably some bullshit like that. I don't know, man. This game got shut down and removed from app stores in 2016 following very little success. And that's all to say about that one. I think you're about to see a trend with these shitty spin-off games. Then they released Skylanders Lost Islands, which was one of those like base building games like Clash of Clans or whatever. And this one was the first one with a long-term form of monetization. Like all these games, you can buy resources to build shit faster. You can skip build times and all that just with a simple press of your mom's credit card. And even with that, this game didn't see very much success either and was shut down and removed from app stores in 2017. The final filler spin-off game was Skylanders Battlegrounds, and this one was like you could pick like 2 characters, and it was pretty much just a top-down RPG, turn-based combat, all the fill-ins. You unlock characters through quests or buying them. To no one's surprise, this was shut down and removed in 2016 following very little success. And honestly, 2016 seems like too long for this fucking game. But actually, maybe not, because all of these games got decent ratings. I don't know who's reviewing a mobile Skylanders game, but hey, the 80s don't lie. All these games came out within a year of Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, and I just don't know how you go from 500 million to a shitty mobile game maybe 4 people played. But I think the suits over at Activision got the message that people didn't care about Skylanders as an IP and just for like the intense futuristic modernization of gameplay. They cared about it because you could collect stupid little figures. And I think Activision got that message. And oh boy, I know they got that message. I don't know why I said they think, because I know they got that message. Skylanders Giants came out in 2012 after all the mobile games came out, and this one saw a rise in way more Skylanders, more different types of Skylanders with the Giants, more exclusive rare types of Skylanders, all driving up the collectability aspect. The game overall got good reviews again, but it really didn't change much from the original in the actual game aspect. The story again is nothing special. You have to reunite the Giants that roamed the Skylands thousands of years ago, and you have to reunite them because the threat, can you guess who it might be?
Who's that Pokemon?
Chaos is back! And he's, you know, trying to steal the light or whatever again, and you need to get the Giants all together so they can help you stop them, even though you were just fine doing it by yourself last time. What really sent this game skyrocketing is because remember the 32 $8 characters? Well, now you had 48 different characters, and they're not all $8 anymore because you had the Giants, which were $15 instead. Do you see the floodgates starting to open? So now to get the game, $70. To get the 8 Giants, $120. And to get the other characters, another $256. All combined, that is now $446 for the whole experience. Also, knowing Activision, it's hard to believe they would do anything even slightly consumer friendly, but I'll give them at least the credit. All of your Skylanders from the first game would transfer over and you could play with them in this game. So you didn't have to you didn't start from 0 again. If you had all 32 from the first game, you still had 32 characters to start out with, which is nice round of applause. Good job. Good job. Good job. Skylanders Giants received about $195 million in revenue in the first 2 weeks of sales being out. And shortly after, Activision had announced that the whole series as a whole, including the first game, had made over $1 billion in gross profit in just over 15 months. Next up was Skylanders Swap Force. This game saw a continued rise in profit for the series. Let's start out with the fact that there are another 48 new characters, but this time there's 16 swappable characters, which were like characters that you could like split in half, and they had their legs and their head, torso area, and you could swap them with different characters, which is a really cool concept. I actually like that. But You had 16 characters that were $15 now, and the regular Skylanders took a jump from $8 to $10, which means, boom, $630 if you want the whole collection this time around. It's starting to get up there, folks. While the prices kept going up, at least this game was actually quite a bit better. The story was pretty numb again, nothing really fun. It's pretty much giants, but just, oh, you have to go reunite the Swap Force characters this time. But the gameplay with the swappability and the different traversal mechanics for each character, some could fly, some could jump, some could do whatever, all created an actual much more fun gameplay experience. Nothing that will blow your mind if you're over the age of 10, but to my 10-year-old mushy gamer brain, I was like, oh my god, I can jump now? I couldn't find any info on how much Swap Force made independently, but I did find that shortly after this game, around 4 months after the game came out, Activision had announced the series had made $2 billion in gross profit, with 175 million toys pushed. Holy shit. They were on the up and up. This was looking like a gold mine that had infinite fucking gold in it that would never be stopped. Weirdly though, I couldn't find much information on the next game in the series, which was Skylanders Trap Team, but thankfully, this was the last game your boy played. So, I'm kind of filling in some of the gaps in my memory here with my own memory. Because I just couldn't find info online. I don't know what the fuck they're keeping a secret here, but if something's wrong here and you know it's wrong, maybe it is. I'm trying my best to go into my temple here, which generally isn't trustworthy. This game has 18 new Trapmaster Skylanders, 18 new Core Skylanders, 40 plus trappable villains, and 16 new mini Skylanders, which are literally just mini versions of the other Skylanders. This brought the cost of everything for Skylanders Trap Team, if you wanted to get enough traps to trap every villain and all the characters, to $800. Holy fuck. If you have bought every single thing up until this point in the series and completed every single game, you have spent $2,201 on fucking Skylanders. I'm so sorry, Mom and Dad. I remember actually having a really great time with Trap Team. The fact that you could beat a villain and then slap them in a trap and play as them after that point was really fucking cool to my younger self. I remember you could literally cheat because you could trap Chaos at the end of the game. Then when you go back through and play the game, you could actually become invincible because if you're playing as a villain, you don't have a health meter. I'm gonna nerd out here for a second, but you don't have a health meter. You had like a time bar that would like slowly shrink and then would swap you back to your character. Chaos had this time magic that you could use that would increase his like time bar, and you could time it perfectly. Like you could figure out the seconds you need to make before you had to use that time magic. So you could literally keep your bar constantly filling up, and you literally would be invincible. Nothing could kill you. But that doesn't matter. That was just, you know, a trick. If you played Skylanders Trap Team and had Chaos and never used that trick, there you go. The more you know. That aside, in 2015, roughly 8 months after Trap Team, we saw a total profit grow to $3 billion. Billion with a B, you bitch. And a total of 250 million toys pushed. It seems like this series was unstoppable. 4 games coming out yearly, $3 billion in profit. It seemed like Activision had struck a gold mine, and it was never running dry, baby. But then, disaster struck. Like all good things, greed eventually got to the heads of the suits over at Activision, and we saw a fucking speedrun of complete destruction. Parents were rightfully pissed off with this Toy to Life franchise coming out yearly that only got more and more expensive with different characters they had to fucking buy for their dumbass little kids to keep them from crying and creating a scene in Target. Skylanders Superchargers came out towards the end of 2015, and to compensate for this, they took down the amount of numbers of new characters they introduced, and they only introduced 20 new Skylanders this time around. This obviously brought down the total cost of the game, but I think the damage had already been done. You can easily see that the damage had already been done because Activision had come out and for the first time in the series, they announced that the game did not meet sales expectations. No new billion-dollar mark was announced, no new sales numbers pushed, but this did not stop them from giving the good old Skylanders saga one more try, and oh boy, did it go out with a whimper. They gave it one more good try in 2016 was Skylanders Imaginators. Imaginators added character creation crystals that would like allow you to create your own Skylanders, pretty much making it just an RPG. It's an RPG without like the goofy Bethesda character creator, so what's even the fucking point? But for some reason they still introduced 31 new mainline characters that you could just buy like other Skylanders, because for some reason they thought going back up in Skylanders was gonna solve people's issues. Like, yeah, I know you're complaining about these things being too expensive and there's too many new characters, but let's go back up, because clearly 20, we went down and that didn't work, so maybe if we go back up, you'll come back. Who knows? This game was only able to muster 100,000 units sold by the end of December, which is borderline pathetic. Just remember, 4 years prior when Skylanders Giants came out, that game sold 500,000 units in 2 weeks. This is a classic tale of a gold mine once thought untouchable that was ruined thanks to oversaturation. I don't think Activision is ever going to look back at Skylanders like this was a complete waste of time and total fail because they grossed $3 billion in sales. It is interesting to me how a franchise that was only on the up and up every year so quickly went downhill in just one fucking game. And then even worse with the next game. I think it's just a case of parents getting smarter and seeing the corporate greedy scum for what they really are and what they're actually pushing out, which is just feeding on the need for collecting from kids, and kids growing up and wanting something new and different that Skylanders just wasn't supplying anymore. I mean, even though there are all these new Skylanders every year, a lot of them were first, second, third, fourth generations of Skylanders that were back from Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. When you look back at it, it's no like surprise that Skylanders and Disney's Infinity and all these other Toy to Life games were all just one big fad of the time. It was the new big thing, really cool big new thing for a while. When you keep making little to no improvements year after year after year, you can't expect people to keep coming back year after year after year. Skylanders was a massive part of my childhood and I'll always have fond memories of the series, but honestly, I'm kind of glad that this horrendously anti-consumer business model is 6 feet under and it hopefully never crawls back out. But that's about it from me. Sweet dreams.